Hello and welcome to Busted Magic. I'm your host, the True Scotsman, and it's that time of year again, ZENDIKAR Rising, folks. So all the cards have been spoiled, and now it's quite simply time to make some decks and brew. So I've made quite a few decks up this time, and if you'd like to check them out, of course, just check YouTube and check all the different videos. The video we're looking at in this one is Omnath lands. Now this is of course featuring around the new Omnath card, Omnath Locus of Creation, which is red, green, white and blue, and we'll get to that in a minute. Of course, if you like any of the videos, please hit like and subscribe, helps the channel out massively. And here we go, we will get into the deck tech. This deck is coming in at $655, so this isn't a cheap one. So we have 4 Gilded Goose, just pure and simple mana ramp. This card I think is going to come back into play now. A new card came in, Lotus Cobra, 1 in a green, creature snake. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. So we do have a couple of insane plays this deck can do. I have to be honest, when this deck goes off, this is going to go off. When it doesn't go off, I think it's awful. But the fun of when this thing goes off is just going to be insane. So obviously you have to keep an opening hand with these cards in it. We're also playing another new card. We're playing 4 Uros, of course, because why would we not play Uro? Roiling Regrowth. So this is 2 in a green instant. Sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Now, of course, if you've got a Lotus Cobra down, you then get 2 mana back. So you get the mana back for the lands. Yes. So, what you can do, and this seems nuts, is turn 2 Lotus Cobra. Turn 3, play a land. You get 1 extra mana from the trigger from Lotus Cobra. So we're now sitting with 4 mana. You then cast Roiling Regrowth, which obviously leaves you 1 mana. You sack one of the lands you've already tapped. You go get 2 more lands, put them in tapped. Cobra then triggers again, giving you another 2 mana, which then leaves us with 3 mana, letting us go play an Uro. And we'll still have 4 lands on the battlefield. And obviously you've still got an Uro trigger to come and you can play another land. So you go up to 5 lands on the battlefield. You would get another mana from Cobra, but who cares? At that point we've just flooded the field with lands and emptied our hand. Yeah, that's right, we'd have 3, we'd lose 1, go to 2, play another 2, go to 4, play 1 off Uro, go to 5. 5 lands end of turn 3. So, we're also playing in this deck another new card called Valakut Exploration. Now, this is kind of our so we don't have nothing to do card. We're only playing 2. It's 2 in a red enchantment, rare. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, this will happen quite often in this deck, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. At the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled with Valakut Exploration, put them into their owner's graveyard, then Valakut Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. Now, we're also playing a lot of, because we're a mana deck and we're just ramping right out there, realistically, most of our cards cost 5 or more. 4 at the worst. So we could just win just by putting cards in exile with this and just killing them to face. It's that simple. So, we're obviously playing, the whole point of this deck is Omnath Locus of Creation. Red, green, white, blue. So he's a legendary creature elemental. Mythic, of course. When Omnath Locus of Creation enters the battlefield, draw a card. He's already good. He's a 4/4 for 4 that draws a card. And here's where it gets silly, silly, silly. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. If this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. If it is the second time, add red, green, white, blue. So you basically get 4 mana when you play your second land in the turn. If it is the third time, Omnath deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. The card's nuts. Totally nuts. So obviously, there's just loads of silly triggers that are going to happen in this deck. Completely, utterly silly triggers. So, we're also playing, let's keep going and then you can start to see where we're going with this. Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, 3 green green, legendary creature elemental. Ashaya, Soul of the Wild's power and toughness are equal are each equal to the number of lands you control. Now that's good, but there's a second bit to this card. Non-token creatures you control are forest lands in addition to their other types. So every creature on the board is also a land. So this is all your lands plus all your creatures, including itself. So this thing just goes huge. We're also playing another new card, and we're playing a full play set of this because it's not legendary. And it's 4 green creature elemental with reach. It's a 5/7. You may play lands from your graveyard. If a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Yes. So, landfall and Omnath. If you have these both down, you play a land, you gain 8 life. You play your second land of the turn, you gain 8 mana. If you play your third land of the turn, you deal 8 damage to each other planeswalker and each opponent. This could get really, really silly. We're playing 4 of this card, because if you put 2 of these down, it would happen twice. Which I think then you can understand. This goes nuts. This just goes insanely nuts. But we're not finished. We have more madness to add to this deck. Moraug. I think it's Moraug. Moraug, Fury of Akum. 4 red. Legendary creature, Minotaur Warrior. There's lots of text on this one. Each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it has attacked this turn. Sounds strange, yes? He's a 6/6, by the way. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control and they get the +1. Now, as you can imagine, if you have this guy down and the Ancient Green Warden, this is an ability. So this triggers twice. So, boom shakalaka, you get 2 additional attack phases. You can see where this deck's going. It's just stupid. We're also, of course, playing Genesis Ultimatum, which can make the whole thing go completely Pete Tong. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put any number of permanent cards from them onto the battlefield and the rest in your hand. This includes lands. So you could, in theory, Genesis Ultimatum on turn 4, and you can do this by going Lotus Cobra into Roiling Regrowth, play a land, and you'll have 7 mana turn 4, play Genesis Ultimatum, and then you could whack down all of these big stupid things, and put land triggers, and gain a pile of life, and it's just all silly. We're also playing a couple of Ugins, because, well, it's Ugin. Why not? Why not play Ugin? This deck's nuts. I think it'll lose numerous times, but I think there will be the moment when it just goes off, and it's just insanely silly. And that's the reason we're playing it. For the completely junky, your opponent just looks at the board and goes, yeah, right, that's just insane. So, obviously, you could technically swing with this deck for so much damage, it's unbelievable. We're also playing some of the new lands. So we've got 2 Branch Loft Pathway. This one's green and white. You pick which one you want. We've got 4 Crag Crown Pathway, which is red and green. 4 Fables, obviously, because we want to sack them to get the land triggers. 4 Ketria Triomes. 1 Raguran Triome, because it's red, white, blue. We've got 4 River Glide Pathway, which is the red-blue one. Some forests, some islands, some mountains, some plains, obviously, to get where the Fabled Passages, and we need them for the Roiling Regrowth triggers. So, this is Omnath lands. I hope you like the look of this deck. It's jank. It's complete jank. And you need to obviously hit some of these lower level cards in Europe. You're going to have to mull to hit these, because you need to hit this stuff later on. But I think if you get there, it's just slightly silly. And I think your opponent just scoops. So anyway, this is Bustin' Magic. I'm the True Scotsman. And of course, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. We have lots of other deck techs. Check them out on YouTube. Take care. Bye-bye.